Just picking out some interesting music. Figure why not? Why not pick interesting music? Find some. This one should be fine. Question is there anything actually being played? Oh, well, it might be good to have my headphones connected properly. There we go. I was like, what's wrong? Oh, that's right. Nothing. Okay. Let's go ahead and hook up this so that other people can watch and join on in. Hey, what's up, Fleeps? Good to see you again. Normally my Discord's already up, but it's not up right now. And I do not know why, but c'est la vie. Is this say? I'm going to be posting this right in the Angst News on the Discord. So people can come hang if they feel like it. There we go. I should do it. And let me send this to someone else. Wait for a few people to get on and see what's up. Usually it takes a little bit, otherwise I'll just be rambling to myself. Oh, by the way, to anybody watching this as a VOD later, it's on the server, because these types of streams I usually only have on the server as a link, so it's like unlisted. It doesn't really go on the public channel stuff. So if this is your first time watching it, I hope you enjoy. And if this isn't, then I hope you enjoy this and get something out of it. We're going to be talking about, well, whatever you guys feel like talking about. You know, whatever woes you want to cast unto me so that I may partake in your woe. But the topic I wanted to kind of speak on is disappointment, and I was curious how you guys tackle that sort of thing. Let's see here. What's up, Seagrass? Now, why is it that I don't? Absurd. There. Nope, it's not there either. Why does it do this to me? YouTube is so strange sometimes. Speaking of disappointment, YouTube does some strange things at times when it comes to like live stream information and things like that. Like the YouTube Studio app, which is basically an app that lets me oh shit. Yeah, I'm just doubling up here. Okay, which is basically an app that lets me keep track supposedly of my content and stuff. Doesn't always work too great. Sometimes it does a lot of other dumb stuff that I do not like, and it can be pretty frustrating. Or it doesn't show up the things that I need it to. Okay, there we go. Alright, cool. Looks like we're good. Looks like stuff's showing up like it's meant to. That's very good. Alright, guys. Oh, you like my hat? Yeah, usually I like to try on different hats for the stream. I don't know why. I don't have many left, I don't think. And some hats don't work with the headset, so I gotta find some way of, well, I can just get regular headphones since I don't use this headset to talk. So I just like the way it sounds. I use my little Blue Yeti to speak. Tell me if the music's too loud, by the way, guys. It's a little too loud. Just I can like always lower it a little and that sort of stuff. Let's see here. Fleeps. I'm mentoring a new coworker next week. Gonna suck ass, but mostly for him since my Christmas vacation begins in 3 days after he starts. But I still don't feel like I'm in a position to mentor anyone. Oh man, that's how I feel all the time when I'm doing this stuff. I feel like, am I really the right person for this? And then I remember, oh wait, I'm the only person. So, what can be done, right? All right, guys. So, disappointment. That's what I want to talk about for the next hour, 45 minutes or so. Something like that. Depends. Baby, take advantage of the fact baby takes a nap, so she usually knocks out for a good hour and a half and change. That isn't, she actually falls asleep, so that buys me some time. But in any case, oh, you see the Christmas tree? It's pretty random. It's just like whatever we wanted to put on it. I put a picture up on the server, but the bulbs are different colors. The ornaments don't make sense. It's just it's a pretty much a pretty clusterfuck of a tree. It's pretty great. I'm proud of my children just hanging up random shit on the tree. So that was pretty fun. Let me see here. So what's going on with you guys? I only got 4. Usually it takes a good like 20-30 minutes before I get an upsurge and people actually jumping on. Even if I notice it doesn't even matter if I give like a 2-hour heads up or whenever. Like, cause the reason I can't give like a big heads up is because I don't know when I'm gonna have the free time to do it. So scheduling something is just too stressful because shit could just come up, and then all of a sudden, you know, I'm failing in my my schizoid leadership duties, or whatever you want to call them. And that's the last thing I need. I don't want to be the disappointment on the disappointment stream. So, but this is like a support stream. It's gonna remain unlisted, so it's only gonna be people that have the link. They're gonna have available. So I'm only gonna post the link on the Discord. So if anybody else spreads it around, well, that's the best I could do. But it's supposed to basically stick to you guys. And I already got permission essentially on the poll on the server to share this with Dr. Eleanor Greenberg as well. So the only two links getting posted are the ones on our server and the one I gave to her, so that they could watch it after it's recorded. But outside of that, it's not going to be publicly posted. So that's why I do it, so that you guys feel more comfortable just expressing yourselves, telling me whatever it is you want in chat. Give me your woes, give me the shit that's bugging you. Like I said, the topic is disappointment, which I'll ramble on a little bit, you know, if it gets too quiet. But I want to hear about your disappointments. What's disappointing you right now in relation to, you know, the PD, the adaptations, disappointments in yourself, others, the world, what have you, how that's making you feel. Some of you that are stuck in an abstraction of some kind or thought that's getting you down, some kind of meta disappointment. You know, you can talk about that too. Just drop it in the chat. It'll give me, I'll just, you know, go off of that and go and discuss back and forth if you feel like it, or just share an anecdote, and, you know, I'll talk about it a bit. If you don't want me to talk about it, I guess put that right at the beginning to not talk about it. But outside of that, yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to talk about these things that make sense to us, only make sense to us, and our own kind of lived experience, or whatever you want to call it. I am drinking some diet green tea because it feels good in my tummy, and I have a jacket on because it's really, really cold. At least, you know, it's California cold, not like regular cold, but for me, it's cold. Not, actually, no, it's not even. I've been in a lot colder weather, but I think it's because the floor here is like that marble sort of floor style, whatever you want to call it, ceramic. I don't know, and so it's really cold. And there's like, I don't know, it's just different in here than other rooms. Other rooms are a lot warmer. Let's see here. Is my live chat on, or are you guys just really quiet? Oh, it's just really quiet. What do you think of my hat, Dylan? Is it a good hat? It's a messenger cap. I don't know if you were here for some of the other ones. I wore like a Griller hat, and like I wore a Fatal Fury hat, a Persona 3 hat. I think some other time. I have other hats, but like I said, I had to just get myself a pair of regular headphones so that I can wear those other hats, because they won't work with this. Like, maybe next time I'll wear my little fisherman's cap hat. I like hats. As long as they're black or have something interesting on them of some kind, I'll wear it. The only reason I got the Grill Master hat is because it makes me laugh, because it's just like a griller hat, like quite literally. So, and if you're familiar with the internet, you're already familiar with the term griller. Sandra Snow. Vask.tech. What is that? What is Vask.tech? I'm a boomer, so I'm not sure. I'm disappointed in Cutie Pie Girl. Hasn't knocked on my door and asked me out. Aww. Well, maybe today will be the day the Cutie Pie Girl shows up, Dylan. We don't know. Or maybe you will find Cutie Pie Girl. Maybe Cutie Pie Girl could be on the server, or somewhere in the YouTube chat. Cutie Pie. Are you there for Dylan? Dylan needs a Cutie Pie Girl that he will treat like a queen. A Schizoid queen. This is kind of a Slav hat. A griller is it's like a internet political term for like somebody that's like uninterested or indifferent to like major political stuff. Like they're just more interested in just they want to grill. They just want to grill. They don't care about like, you know, global economic politics, social economics, like any of that stuff, like all the big political things occurring in the world. Like they're just like, fuck that. I just want to grill. I just want to grill my burgers. I'll vote for whoever lets me grill and leaves me alone. Like they just want to be left alone and do their thing. They're not really interested in all that big political stuff. Yeah, like a boomer on the grill. He's just like, oh, listen to my AC/DC, drinking my monster drinks, and just want to grill, you know. Like, and if you try to talk politics with them or anything like, you know, big, or even it doesn't just have to be politics. Honestly, it could be like philosophy. It could be like, you know, real big meta shit, and they're just like, no, I just want to. I'm grilling. I don't care about nothing. I just want to grill. I just want to be left alone. Just drink my beer, drink, grill. You know, respect to those people. I have no problem with that because they're probably easier to, you know, be around than the people that aren't sometimes. So, speaking of beer, I wish this was a beer. Wouldn't be too bad. So, let's see. Oh, you think it's a bot? That probably is a bot. Too bad. It's a nice name, Sandra Snow. Mask.tech. It's mask.tech. That would make a little more sense. Perhaps. I don't know. But Dylan, besides Dylan being disappointed with a cutie pie girl not showing up, today, like I said, I want to talk about disappointment. What's disappointing you guys right now? What sort of stuff may be related to Schizoid, you know, adaptations, maybe related to some of the cognitive stuff I talk about, the abstract thinking that many of us are prone to, you know, some of that other sort of cluster A action, or maybe comorbids and stuff, and how, or, you know, whatever you want to call them, some of the other issues that come with a lot of this sort of Zoid stuff. But in relation to disappointment specifically, I'd be a little more interested, or disillusionment, I guess that's a good one. Oh wait, I become more like that as I see people engage in poll discourse and get further disillusioned. Oh yeah, okay, well, they're disillusionment. There you go. That's on topic right there, Dylan. Yeah, and well, I can talk about disappointment a little bit. I've dealt with a lot of disappointment over the years. You know, and when you deal with a significant amount of feelings of disappointment, what ends up happening is you become resigned to it. Over the years, you become, I wouldn't necessarily say inoculated from its negative effects, because that's definitely not the case, but you become resigned to expecting it. You just expect disappointment. And so when good things occur, oftentimes it can be uncomfortable because, you know, disappointment of some sort is coming. That happens to me all the time. Like sometimes, like depression or anhedonia can kind of set off because something good is happening or something hopeful is occurring. And it's really frustrating because, you know, I kind of want to revel or enjoy the hopefulness, but something inside me just kind of goes, oh, well, here comes the disappointment. Whatever it is, and whatever shape or form it takes, it's coming. And say, don't get too happy. It's like my brain goes, don't, because it hurts more, and you feel even shittier if you get hopeful or feel good. So let's not do that. And then my brain just kind of goes, let's just shut down. Or, nah, let's keep you in this low-grade depression and not let you enjoy this, because if you enjoy it, we might spiral into a deep depression. So let's see here. It's weird because it's something outside of myself, so I shouldn't care, but part of it I do. Are we talking about like the poll stuff or disappointment? But yeah, so So then you get kind of resigned to it. And even if you did that on some conscious level just to keep yourself from, I mean, what do they say? If you don't expect anything, you're never disappointed. It's a bummer when you actually want to expect something or you want to feel good about something and you kind of can't. Because, like I said, it feels like, oh, there's nothing that's going to co-regulate or validate my own value system, or anything that's making me hopeful about having something I care about validated is soon to be taken away from me or invalidated or ignored or neglected in some capacity. And so when that happens, you're just like hurt even more. And that happens to you a lot, maybe when you're younger, teenage years, and so on. Many of us were probably a little more melodramatic, years prior. And then you get to a point where it's just like, oh, this is just what happens all the time. Yeah. And it's, oh, the political discourse stuff. Okay. Gotcha, Dylan. And so, it just keeps happening over and over. And you get stuck in these loops. And, currently, like, I'm going through that. There's good stuff happening for the channel. There's good stuff happening on the server. Hopeful things are happening. If you guys didn't already see, watch it. I suggest you do. I had that interview with the wonderful Dr. Eleanor Greenberg. It was funny, too, because even going into the interview, and I was transparent about this during the interview, I was thinking, oh, this is really nice. This is good. I've been trying to get a hold of Dr. Greenberg for a long time now. And so some part of me was excited, but some other part of me was just going, oh, it's probably just going to be bad, or it's not going to be the way I think it is, or it's not going to go very well, or some part of me was just telling me, like, don't get excited. It's not going to be that great. It's going to go badly or whatever. You're going to be disappointed. That's how it felt. But no, that's not what happened. What happened was the conversation went great. The recording went great. Burb did a wonderful job in the editing. The video is doing really good. I would say it's the most watched one I've ever put up, like, at this rate. Not ever watched, but, like, in general. It'll probably become the most watched I have for a long time, unless I make this sort of stuff happen some more. And, it's stuff that you think, oh, it's stuff to get excited about, right? And, even with that, even that alone should get somebody excited. But then, for example, the Eleanor has been, she told me to call her Eleanor, so I'm not disrespecting by not dropping the doctor. She told me to, she's been like texting me and Burb, and we've just been talking back and forth, and she's interested in what we're doing, we're interested in what she's doing, so on and so forth. And again, that should be exciting. That should feel good, right? That somebody's listening. And it does feel good sometimes. Like, you get this little surge of, like, happiness, like, oh man, this is working. I think that's good, right? And then, but like I said, my brain does this thing where it's like, oh, well, it's working for now. Something's gonna happen. It's something bad's gonna happen, or it's gonna be disappointing, or it's gonna fall apart in some capacity, and you're just gonna have to pick the pieces back up like you always do, and so on and so forth. And, like, all these sort of really pessimistic thoughts start kind of intruding a little bit. I still keep going, like, I don't let it stop me, but I could see how a lot of people, it would stop them. I could see how that resignation toward disappointment, things like that, would just make you just become more stoic and uncaring and not attempt anything. And I could also see how that kind of triggers a lot of the anhedonia and definitely triggers the abolition stuff. So the abolition is a bitch, to say the least. And in my case, I think my evolution is oftentimes, abolition, whatever, is kind of falls in line with this pessimism when it comes to having expectations or hopes met, or even just the smallest amount of validation Yeah, I'm not talking about like status or, acknowledgement validation, but it's more like, a validation that what I'm trying to say or do is actually having an impact or effect in any capacity. That kind of reminds me of the helplessness theory. I don't know if it's real or just bogus theory, but it seems a lot like it. Siagris. Yeah, it is like the helplessness theory. There is something to that for sure. There's been enough studies and like to do it. It's a sense of like, yeah, it feels like you're just always downtrodden, and you try, and it fails, and you try, and it fails, and you try, and it fails, and then you just expect it to continuously fail. The only difference is that you can become helpless, or you can just be like me, who doesn't become helpless, but feels helpless. I feel helpless, even though the reality is that I'm not, and the things I'm doing are probably having a significant impact on certain people's lives and on this sort of stuff. But the bigger of an impact it feels like it's doing, the more my mind wants to tell me it's not. Because I guess as a child and as a teen, maybe, whenever I would get hopeful, it would just get struck down by a variety of factors. And one of those factors is an obvious one, which is, as I've discussed, there's people that agree and disagree. It's still a little bit of a, theory that I'm working on with Burb and stuff. And that's why we're working with Dr. Greenberg, trying to get things going here. But it's this, being an incompatible sort of neurodivergent person growing up, and having these value systems that are really incongruent with what is expected of your behavior and what is expected of what you should expect in life. And when those things don't quite fall in line, you become hopeful of things that the world around you um, isn't quite looking to do, or isn't really interested in, or people or society around you is like, oh, that's not what we're going. That's not what's happening. That's not what we're interested in. But since your whole value system is very different, disappointment comes easily, and on top of that, living in a world that doesn't even realize it's disappointing you or doesn't care because it's making other is it's not disappointing other people that have different ways of experiencing stuff. If you know what I'm saying, it really beats you down over the years. Really, really beats you down. Especially like as when you'll see people around you, like your typical people around you celebrating something, and inside you're just like, oh, that's a disappointment to me, but it's a success to them, and which is further disappointing and confusing, and so on. And it tends to happen quite a bit. I've experienced that one a significant amount of times. Okay, so there. See, I'm talking about it. So I'm talking about my disappointments. And it's a little vague, but just so I can keep it open. And so now that I've discussed it a little bit with some of you guys, can some of you guys tell me similar disappointments you feel? Or if you want to give specific examples or keep it vague, it's up to you. But just tell me a little bit about your disappointments and how over the years of feeling disappointed a lot, that maybe resignation that occurs within you or resentment that you just kind of live with. Um, Dylan, I'm becoming numb to disappointment, trying to give up expectations. Yeah, see, that's the bummer, Dylan. Is we start going in those directions, and those aren't healthy either. Like, I think the healthier approach, which is what I'm working on myself, is being a realistic, right? Being realistic about your expectations, um, and trying to create a situation or change your environment or things around you in some capacity so that more of your own expectations can be met, even if it's not to the maximum degree. But if something can be met, if you can create an environment for yourself or create things that allow you to meet certain expectations, so that you're not constantly disappointed and you can actually be hopeful of something, and there's a recompense at the end, not just more disappointment. it can change that kind of thinking, because the problem with going with, oh, just keeping up on expectations, is that if there is an opportunity, if an opportunity does in fact arise for something good to occur and for you to be able to enjoy it, it'll be really difficult for you to do it, if you already resigned yourself to a pure disappointment. You know how that can be. So, something that would normally, maybe before you got to that point, would have made you feel good or made you feel hopeful, now it just kind of feels dulled and disconnected from it. Even though on an intellectual level, you're like, I should be happy about this, but I can't be. Dylan, like if someone is upset with me, I used to expect that they'd have the ability to communicate why they are to me. What a fool I was. You're not a fool, Dylan. It's just a different sort of way of what to expect from people, because that's something like you would rather do. Like the form of communication that you're more particular to, kind of this open, sort of sincere communication, because you're not interested in a lot of the stuff that causes or motivates people to not speak in more sincere like ways, more open ways. uh yeah, like it'll it'll do that to you. You're not a fool. It's just that, things aren't quite congruent. But if you go on the server and you talk to people like us or myself, you're going to see a lot less of that stuff that would disappoint you. So because of that reason, maybe you can become a little less disappointed in communication with others. That's my opinion on the matter. Taito. Hey, Taito, how are you? I think a lot of us tend to lean more toward trying to think realistically, but we still end up underestimating how badly something is going to affect us, or vice versa. That's true. I mean, I think realistically is a good way, because you kind of have to think realistically, especially if you're neurodivergent, because there's just if you're you know neurodivergent people are a minority in the world, and your expectations, your value systems might differ from other people's, and so you have to be a little more realistic about what it is you can expect from them, and what you can expect from yourself to be able to kind of deal with. Like for example, like Taito said, like there's times where you underestimate how badly something's going to affect you. You think, oh, I can handle this. I can handle this disappointment or this thing, and then it feels like you can, but something in you is just saying, "Oh no, oh no," and then you kind of just try to swallow it, keep moving forward. And it isn't easy. It isn't easy at all. Hey, Luke. I'm always about disappointment and about expectation. That kind of feeling are mostly not part of my life. Yeah, see, but that's what's interesting, Luke. Is I feel you on that one, but I wonder how if it's always been that way. And I don't think it has. I think it's something we teach ourselves, and something we get into these. I think it's more of a maladaptation to a world that feels so incompatible and so hostile and so uncomfortable, for a variety of reasons, for neurodivergent peeps. And so then you get just caught up in it. Or especially if you had like abusive parents or narcissistic parents or emotionally unavailable parents, then you can start developing a resignation toward disappointment, very early in life, very very early in life, and it's difficult. I've overestimated my ability to deal with stress and loss in the past. Not fun. Oh yeah, the problem, Dylan, is that many times schizoids they oh they can overestimate their ability to deal with or resign themselves to things like disappointment or sorrow, or feel like, oh, I can disconnect myself from this or disconnect myself from that. And I mean, to a point, yeah, you can kind of do that, but there's some stuff, man, like once it piles up, once it starts getting your body starts feeling it, right? It's not even so much like you might be making a conscious effort to disassociate from it, or an unconscious effort, but your body still takes a toll. It affects your sleep, it affects your health, it affects all sorts of things. That's why you can sleep for 8-9 hours and still be so tired, even if you were asleep. that whole time because your sleep is so troubled and in ways that maybe you're not quite understanding how. I have my own theories on what it is that occurs during sleep for the schizoid person. Why a lot of us deal with stuff like night terrors or panic or whatever, anxiety or insomnia, and waking up a lot and things like that. I have my own theories regarding that. I think that's when the subconscious mind is just dealing with the stuff that our conscious mind is just, can't handle. So, though we can suppress away consciously or at a certain layer, once sleep sets in, a lot of those barriers, a lot of those inhibitions, or the suppressions, barriers start kind of melting away, and then yeah, got those 1,000-yard stares singing. But yeah, I think a lot of schizoids have 1,000-yard stares. A lot of schizoids have 1,000-yard stares. I mean, you'd have an 1,000-yard stare if you felt like you were living since a child in a world that just feels you feel alienated from, right? And ignored or unseen, I guess is a good word for it. I would say unseen is a good word for it, yeah. Cold. I don't know why. I'm just as guilty of that, Dylan. Sometimes it's not even about important things. I just think anything is going to go a certain way realistically, and then it doesn't. It can suck terribly. Yeah, I mean, tell me. I want to know stories, guys. Like, there's like, what, 17 of you on right now? Put in chat. Give me some stories of times you got hopeful and then it got dashed away. Or, maybe you got hopeful about something and then just your maybe more naive when you were younger expectations about human behavior or what's expected of you, kind of pooped all over those hopes and expectations you had. Or you thought, oh, you were doing something good, and then the people or things around you tell you, no, that wasn't good, that was bad, and then you're just like, oh, okay, I guess it was bad, and then you're just disappointed again. You just don't try next time. Tell me some of those stories. I know it's hard. It sucks. It sucks talking about this stuff, but I think it's important to talk about this stuff. And part of it being important is that it sucks, but it's also cathartic because on here you'd be sharing it with other people that actually, man, this music's starting to suck. What is this? Ugh, me no likey. Me no likey. Let's do this one. Yeah, sounds better. Yeah, like, well, you gotta share it on here because here, a lot of us are schizoid. The people that are gonna watch this later are schizoid because I'm only gonna post it on the Zoid server, and they're gonna understand. They're gonna relate to what you're trying to express in other ways that maybe people that you tried to express it to in your life, your immediate circles, weren't able to understand. I mean, I'll understand. That's for sure. So there's that, but I'm sure there's others that will as well. Couldn't engage in recreation. I had the one. Probably felt like that because she was the first person to take interest in me that I liked back. Taito, we are all children of the void here. Yes, we are. We are children of the void. And sometimes the void is a safe place. It's not a scary, horrible place. Sometimes it's a place where you have to retreat to in order to kind of recharge yourself. That deep, dark well. Sometimes I like to close my eyes and then just look at my eyelids, and just in the darkness there's still some bits of light to probably get through somewhere, and it has like an effect on what it is you're perceiving under your eyelids. Like you see like shapes moving and just odd objects and floaters and all kinds of stuff, and just static even. That sort of stuff like used to give me a lot of anxiety. Sometimes it would keep me up at night. I would have to think about not seeing anything with my eyes closed. But now I just kind of drift into it. I just float into it and just go. It's fine. It's no more static than so much that I see with my eyes open. So it doesn't really change much in that sense. So come on, guys. Throw me a bone here. Give me an anecdote or two. I was asked. Rarely happens, but you know what? I'm gonna keep asking. That's that whole, being insane comes with it. The whole, like, repeating the same actions, expecting different results. Sometimes I get different results, so I'm gonna keep repeating the same actions. Let's see here, Dylan. Tried asking for advice when things went south with a relationship. And I was told by multiple people, mind you, the best way to get over her was to get under someone. Oh, man. Yeah, that kind of stuff is, like... It's people trying to be helpful in their own kind of, like, way. Some of it's a little superficial. But, especially for schizoids, getting over somebody is definitely not just getting under someone else. Because the fact that you even have to get over someone is a big deal, in and of itself, because you don't connect to very many people to begin with. So yeah, just replacing them with another body is definitely not the way to go. And it might work for some normies out there, but it's sure as hell not going to work for a Zoid that probably hasn't been in very many intimate relationships to begin with, if any. So hi, Sign Holman. I'm not schizoid. Do you experience social anxiety? I don't. Well, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I don't like being in social situations because they don't interest me generally, because the people in those situations aren't people that I can have any kind of, like, connection with. And it's not necessarily because, I'm broken or they doing anything wrong. It's just, incompatibilities just happens, just different way of experiencing life, and what can you do? And unfortunately, we don't live in a society that's built to discuss those topics in that capacity. So, it kind of just leaves you floating out there. Even if you have a high five up, no one sees your hand. But as far as anxiety when it comes to being in social situations, no, my anxiety was more connected to things like existential anxiety, and things of that nature, and just other, like, more abstract kind of anxieties that would kind of drive me up a wall and debilitate me for extended periods of time. But social anxiety is just merely like, oh, I have to socialize type anxiety. No, usually when I was forced to socialize, it would be more like frustration or exhaustion, but not so much anxiety. It might make my anxiety for other things worse, unrelated to the actual socializing. But I think that's one of the fundamental differences between, say, like a covert and a covert high functioning quote unquote schizoid and someone that's not, is that social anxiety aspect. I think for some schizoids, like, it's crippling, the anxiety it causes, or the fear and discomfort that it causes. And for others, maybe it causes a lot of sadness and anger, but not so much anxiety that you can't push through it and be more covert. So let's see here. An anecdote, huh? Says Taito. Sometimes you just run out of chips in the pantry, even though you really want chips, and that's okay. That is okay to run out of chips sometimes. Dylan, social anhedonia more than social anxiety. I think people might think I'm anxious since I'm not talking, but that's because I have fuck all to say. But what's interesting, Dylan, is that it's not that you have fuck all to say, you just have fuck all to say to them, probably, because you feel like if you said anything, it's just not going to be listened to, or it's going to be thought as weird or ignored in some capacity or another. But you have plenty to say here, Dylan, so do so. Sam Jam, what what can be sort of disengaging is getting older and realizing most of it, not all of the mysterious and seemingly amazing operations in the world are about money and people's self-interest. When it comes to societal stuff, yeah, oftentimes that's what it is, but it's not like that all the time, Sam Jim. Like, there are some people out there that are sincere and they care. They might not be the ones that rule the world, and they're definitely not the ones that are running, you know, all the state or the corporations or any of that stuff, generally speaking. But there are some people out there that are very sincere and in their intentions and what they're doing and so far, right? And those are the people you need to align yourself with. Those are the people that you need to surround yourself with. Even if, you know, you're not going to fix the world or change it or whatever, your hope is to stick with those that, you know, are working towards something that means something to them and are actually sincere. And then hope that these people that are doing everything for other reasons eventually implode in on themselves. But we'll still have each other, so that's good. Oh, it is sad when all the chips are gone from the store, Dylan. Sometimes you don't need chips, so. Fleeps, and sometimes you run out of chips because you ate them all, and that's not okay, Fleeps. Oh, don't call yourself a fat ass, Fleeps. That's for me to call you. No, I'm just kidding. Dylan, you get it exactly. I guess I'm my own greatest source of disappointment. Yeah, I mean, for a lot of us, like, okay, because this is the issue. Like, if you're dealing with a lot of, as a schizoid, if you're feeling a lot of disappointment with yourself, a lot of the problems is that we have these needs, right? That we want to meet, and we have these goals and associated with those needs, but oftentimes those needs can't quite be easily met because of the environment, because that environment is structured under more normative frameworks, right, and needs systems, and not under what we kind of experience. And so you'll have these expectations, and then oftentimes they'll be very, very difficult to meet because of the conditions. And so then you start getting disappointed in yourself because you start going, oh, I'm not smart enough or capable or competent or motivated or this or that to do A or B or C. But, you know, you're not taking into account the fact that some of those things that motivate you aren't quite in congruence with what it is that's expected to motivate you or what's okay and not okay and stuff. So yeah, it makes it really difficult. It makes it really hard, and you often end up blaming yourself when you shouldn't be. You really shouldn't. Who's Gregor Samsa? Let me look it up. Now I want to look up what Gregor Samsa is. Gregor San. What is it? Sansa? Oh, duh. Okay, yeah. Duh. I was like, I know that name. Okay, stupid. Yeah. Yeah, let's have a picture of that for a second here. Oh, poor Gregor. Dang, Gregor Samsa POV. Look at that. Dang, there we go. Gregor Samsa POV. You wake up and you got bug arms. Eesh. And you're like, what is this? POV Samsa. Let's see here. One time I went to the fridge to get an egg and I didn't have any left, and my first reaction was to think, this is the last fucking straw. If that's any indication of my ability to handle life. No, Taito, like, sometimes that happens, you know, like when the big stuff gets to you, the big stuff is, or you're suppressing your disappointment and your depression and your feelings regarding big stuff that's making you feel like shit, but you're not feeling it, you're not connecting to it because you're unconsciously kind of just pushing it back into that shadow over and over and over. Parts of yourself, parts of how you feel, parts of what you are. And then, you know, you get to that point where, like, literally, like, oh, you know, you're so tired. You're like, I'm going to make myself some pancakes and syrup. I deserve some pancakes. And then you make yourself some pancakes, motivate yourself to do it. You make the pancakes, you sit down, you look around for your syrup, and you notice there's no more syrup left, and you're like, fuck! Fuck! There's no more syrup. Fuck everything. Fuck, 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 right? Because you're just like, I need my fucking pancakes, you know? And it's not about the pancakes, obviously. It's about the exhaustion. It's about the loneliness. It's about the disappointment. It's about all those things. It's not about the fucking syrup. It's not about the pancakes. You just needed your fucking pancakes with syrup just that moment. And I absolutely get it, Taito. Absolutely get it. Sign Holman, do you consider yourself socially awkward when you're not masking? See, that's what's funny is like, how do you define social awkwardness, right? Like, am I socially awkward because I feel awkward, or because people deem me awkward because my behavior doesn't fall in line with what is normative behavior? When people will like say that you're awkward, but it's because they feel awkward around you, not because you're feeling awkward or you're doing anything necessarily objectively awkward. Something would be like, I guess, awkward for anyone would be like, I don't know, like stripping down to your, skin suit randomly in a public place. Like, that's a bit awkward and probably, well, illegal, but I'm saying that would be awkward, schizoid, or normative. Like, it'd just be like, why are you naked? I mean, you can make a philosophical argument for why you should be naked, but it would still be awkward to be around, I think. But it just depends, like, because like what would be deemed, what would be deemed awkward by one person would not be to another. Like, for example, like my behavior when I'm not masking would be considered awkward for a lot of people. But it's not awkward for you guys, obviously. You're sitting here watching me for whatever reason. So you're enjoying a train wreck of some kind. A lot of my behavior when not masking, and my voice is like this, and I'm just like, I sound kind of like a downer, and I try to keep things kind of really practical, and I tend to be sometimes pessimistic about certain things and optimistic about others, and motivated by this or that. Like, if I express all those and I'm just myself to the degree that I can be or try to be, yeah, it'll be considered either boring or awkward or weird or uncomfortable by a lot of people. The fact that I'm willing to talk about whatever subject, express whatever, and not worry about a lot of the hangups that come with that, like, that can make someone feel awkward. But does it make me awkward, socially awkward? I don't know. I think a social awkwardness is often tied to a certain level of expectations you have for other people to control their sense of self. Maybe, but I don't know. Hussein AQ Ball, hello. Hi, Hussein. Right before I quit my job, any customer interaction became close to being charged with battery. Right before. Jeez, Dylan. No talking, people. I mean, no attacking, no battery, Dylan. We gotta keep that anger in check. Those are not good things. No battery. I get it though, but I get where it's coming from. That anger, that angst, literally. That's why I call this channel what I do. It's schizoid angst, because the anger and frustration is so existential. It is, waking up with bug arms and going, why the fuck am I a bug? That's just how it is. Taito, damn, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It's not really about the egg I needed, but I'll be damned if I put attention to what's really at my fault. It's just easier to be mad at the eggs. Yeah, it's easier to be mad at the eggs. It's easier to be mad that there's no more syrup for your pancakes. Because the reality of why it is you're angry and disappointed is so fucking rough that if you fall into that, you're going to be more just depressed and in a puddle of tears before you're going to be angry. Maybe both. Maybe a puddle of blood from you pounding your fist against the wall. In any case, So here, Fleeps, I don't think there is an advantage to not masking if your real you is too real. It depends, Fleeps. Maybe in like a normative environment, you have to kind of mask a little bit because, like I said, certain things you say are considered inappropriate or depressing or negative or make people uncomfortable or blah 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 blah. Okay, yeah, but if you're with people like us, Fleeps, like you're on the server, you're gonna hear, as long as nobody's talking anything illegal or anything, I'm whatever. I'm open to whatever. You want to talk about you're feeling this way or that way. That's okay. That's just how it is. You think this or that's important. That's fine. It's a pretty laissez-faire place, that server, when it comes to thought. I've always thought there was a bit of narcissism behind social anxiety. Why do you presume people care so much? And what level of social status do you think you should be on anyway? I don't think it's so much about any kind of like, in my ass. I mean, it depends. Like, in the case of some PDs and some issues, yeah, it has to do with status anxiety and things like that, which, sometimes that kind of stuff can be tied to narcissism. But I think a lot of the times, especially in the case of the schizoid, it's not really so tied to social status. It's more tied to just, I want to be heard and no one can hear me. It's like about screaming and you're put on mute and you're screaming, take the mute off, please take the mute off. Dylan, even nice customers just having a demand stopping what I was doing to help place on me was a lot of everything else. Yeah, because you weren't mad at the customer, Dylan. You were mad at so much other shit. You were so disappointed and frustrated with so much other stuff. It wasn't because the customer was so intruded upon you, by asking you to do your job or whatever. Taito, yeah, I don't even have a conscious decision to mask. I've been doing it for so long, it's genuinely automatic. Not masking would probably be even more effort at this point and only cause trouble. Dylan wasn't angry, he was sad. Yeah, I get that. Taito, what you're saying is that not masking would probably be more effort. Yeah. Okay, so, I mean, in my case, when I was masking for so long, it created a situation in which I couldn't differentiate anymore between any kind of like actual sense of identity and the mask I constructed, and a lot of aspects of that, and like I couldn't differentiate between them very easily, and so that would cause this like really, really extremely uncomfortable disconnect from myself. I call it like almost like a cognitive dysphoria. That's what I refer to it as. It's like a cognitive dysphoria, an identity-based kind of dysphoria of the mind, of the sense of self, existential dysphoria, even, because you can't differentiate between what you've constructed and what is supposed to be you, especially when so much of you is suppressed. So it's rough. Aranya, hi Aranya. Not masking requires effort for me because my mind is busy making sure I don't fake any emotion or reaction. I'm constantly thinking, did I laugh for too long? Was that even actually funny? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Arenya. That's the kind of stuff that happens. Like you start doing things and behaviors and you're like, was that an automatic response? Did I actually care? And then you kind of like look at your catalog and you go, wait, I didn't care. Why did I laugh? Or why did I smile? Or why did I apologize? I didn't care. That doesn't make sense. Why do they need me? Why do they need to hear this from me to be able to move on? And if I don't, I'm going to hear about it later. Am I doing this for practical reasons? Am I doing this because I actually care about it? Is it because I want to just be left alone? Like, why am I doing all these things? Yeah, that's rough. Shit fucks you up. Really bad at you. That mix up, Dylan, I remember when masking I smile a lot. I was told I would be bad at poker. We'd probably be pretty good at poker. Maybe. I don't know. I have to think about that. Telephone customer service can be draining, especially when there are service failures, and every call is a confrontation. It feels like you're redlining your social. Yeah, it does. I wasn't even happy. No, I know. I smile a lot when even if I'm not happy, per se. But it's definitely a common occurrence for me. Hi, happy I made it onto stream. I missed the other one, sadly. Well, Aranya, remember that on the Angst News channel on the server, the link is still there for the previous support stream, so you can click on that if you want to watch it. So there's always the option of being able to watch it like afterward, leaving a comment or DMing me if you're curious about something. So there's that. God, I get so relaxed with you guys just talking. I get so relaxed I feel like I can rest. So sometimes it makes me really sleepy. Like, not because I'm bored, just because I'm so cozy. So fucking cozy talking to you guys. And then I feel almost like safe because I'm co-regulating with other people that understand what it's like to be like this. And then it's such a stress relief. It's such a load taking off that old prefrontal that it makes me just want to go. I just want to go memes. I just want to go to sleep, and not to get away from anything, but just revel in the nice feeling you guys give me. Fleeps, yeah, normies are so normal. They get uncomfortable if you peel back a little on their superficiality. Easier for everyone if I just smash, smile, and clap my hands. Clap my hands. Oh, that's the worst when you have to clap your hands at a social event that you're not interested in, and you want to just sit there and not clap your hands. Sometimes I refuse. Like, it'll just be like, I'll look around, I'll go, nobody will notice, and then I just think to myself, yeah, that's right, I ain't clapping. I ain't clapping because I don't want to clap. So I don't think that was worth clapping for. And then I don't clap, and then I'm just like, yeah, take that. Take that, society. Yeah, right? I'm making such a big impact on it by not clapping. Taito, did the rest of you ever get told that you're bad at lying because you literally can't act as if you are bad at lying to trick people into thinking you usually tell the truth? Oh yeah, for sure. I think I've done that one, Taito. I mean, it sucks, man. Like, that's the problem. Like, when you mask up, sometimes you're really conscious of it. And when you're conscious of it, it feels like you're just lying and faking shit in order to get things done or make things as easy as possible for yourself. But at the same time, any of us, we don't like necessarily feel entitled to things. And so that sort of deception, if you want to call it that, is really uncomfortable or makes us feel bad or makes us feel just not good. Just not good in general. So Hussein asked, what is masking? Oh, masking is the process of basically creating like a not an entire necessarily persona, like you don't consciously necessarily make it, but like exhibiting behavior like smiling, nodding, common social behaviors that you might not necessarily be interested in or don't come naturally to you. Like, there are things that you're not doing intuitively. You're making a conscious effort to display a specific person that might not necessarily exist, because you know that person that you're presenting as will facilitate your situation a lot easier than who you actually are, which will probably make things more difficult for you on a pragmatic level. Did the rest of you ever? Oh no, sorry. Do people with schizoid personality disorder mask only because of practical reasons, or are you concerned about how you're perceived by others? It's more practical. I think in the case of the schizoid, it's more practical, and it's also because if you're worried about how you're perceived by others, not because you care so much about status, but because you care more about how status is perceived and how it might negatively impact your life and how it could get in the way of things or just makes things more difficult or require more effort than it's worth than if you just mask. It's not because you actually care about the status aspect of it or how if people like you. It's more like, oh, I'm aware that you have to be liked in order to accomplish goals. And so I'm forced into a situation in which I have to make sure I mask. Otherwise, when I don't, things go poorly for me. It's closer to that. Aw, Angst, I respect you so much, but I want to throw up at the same time because feelings. Yeah, I know, Taito. I know how you feel. But, whatever. Fuck it. Somebody's got to do it. Who cares? Fuck it. Let's see here. Hi guys, long time no see. Hey Iron, what's up? Nice to see you again. Optimus. One thing I learned from the stream and server is that it's okay to mask, especially at work. Like if you're the person you dream of being, then you would never mask. But sometimes you just gotta smile and claps just to get on with it and do it to the best of your ability, and don't beat yourself up over it. Yeah, no, exactly. Because I mean, that's just how it is, Like, unfortunately, our way of experiencing and expressing isn't conventional, and it's often misunderstood and misinterpreted by people that have certain expectations of what human behavior looks like. So it makes it hard. And then society is built around that. So, laws, legislation, just societal expectation is built around normative behavior. So I think you have to be realistic and go, well, there's not much I can do about that except for myself, where I'm trying to do something about it in a more meta way. Like, it's more like I'm trying to change the way people perceive this so that when they come across a situation in which a schizoid's not masking, they can go, oh, this isn't a personal thing, or this isn't them doing this or that, or I shouldn't assume stuff about their behavior. This is just who they are. This is how they function. There are ways you can create positive effects, but just yelling out into the void that you're being hurt or this isn't working for you is not really going to accomplish anything, unfortunately, because most people don't care. Let me see here. Yeah, there you go. That's sign. I usually mask to keep others comfortable. Do I care? No, but I want things to go flow as smooth as possible to save me any problems. Yes, exactly. I ran you. And it sucks too, because you don't care if they're comfortable on a effective empathy sort of way, but you might care about that sort of stuff when it's somebody that you can't share connection with. Like, for example, when I'm dealing with other schizoids, like, I actually care about their sensibilities, and because their sensibilities are more in congruence with what mine are and how I perceive and experience my own in a real capacity. So it then makes me connect to them, which then in turn makes me actually care. If that makes sense. Would the world be a better place if everyone was schizoid? No, it wouldn't. But it wouldn't be worse either, probably. The way I see it is, and skipping, I gotta check. The way I see it is, schizoids or cluster A people have their place in society. It's been forgotten as of late, but there is a place in society for us in which our skill set, our thinking, or just existential tool set even can be of great use to society on a more, like I said, on a more meta level. Maybe we wouldn't be good at more middle abstraction type work, but we would be really good at things outside of that realm, and I think that would definitely inch us toward a better world, to say the least. Hussein and Sign, I can't speak for others, but I mask fake emotion because it's practical and makes my life easier in the long run. Yep, I don't care how people see me, just that they don't bother me. Yep. Dylan, I mask so I am not immediately treated as a weirdo by others. Practicality, stress, exam, to realization because of the stress, no sleep, paranoia because of the rocky personal life. Yeah, yep. Dylan says the world would collapse if everyone was Zoid. No, I don't think it would collapse. I was just thinking it'd be a very different world. Because if everyone was a Zoid... See, this is a... Like, if everyone was a Zoid, it would. I don't think it would be that much worse or better. It would just be different because then you would have a bunch of people like we would essentially have be able to co-regulate, have social connections, socialize, blah blah blah. We'd be the ones out there like doing whatever it is as Zoids, and in what capacity Zoid thinking would actually be doing. It would be their version of what is a functioning society. Because at that point, a lot of us wouldn't. If you're like cluster A like that, your thinking is different. Like you wouldn't be dealing with things like anhedonia, depression, and evolution as much because you would be surrounded by people that you could actually connect to. So yeah, I don't think it would make the world collapse any more than it probably currently is. So iron, I master because it's convenient. It's a tool honed and that I earned so I can navigate life. It's a tool and security blanket, nothing more. Jor, do you think that place will emerge or a new niche will develop? Um, I don't think. I mean, I'm trying to make it emerge. If that's what you mean. Dylan, exactly. Humans are humans. Let's all make this trip as easy as can be. Yep. And I think they need to see us like that too. Like we're humans too. We're just different kinds of human. Just like autistic people are kind of different, you know. Our thinking, our experiences are, divergent in nature. So our what we deem as important is very different oftentimes. We're not interested in um, the same stuff, like resource gathering, money, status, hierarchies of that type, in that sort of style. Many SORs are just totally indifferent or just uninterested in those things. See here. Our social structure would be very different if it were Zoid's majority. I think the world would be more distant, less attached place, a weirder place. Yeah, but that's what's funny. Like, okay, let me explain what that means. Iron. Like, okay, so when I say schizoid, I could be saying two different things, right? Because there's no term for it. So when I'm talking about the cognition-based stuff, the way we experience life, how different it is, what kind of makes us withdraw because other people around us can't seem to connect to, and then we feel like aliens and we're weird and we're like these floating heads or whatever. Like that sort of stuff isn't what keeps us distant. It's the adaptations that keep us distant on a social level. It's because we grew up in a world that just was either neglectful, abusive, or incompatible in some major degree to where we withdrew because we figured, oh, there's nothing here for us, right? That's what develops a lot of these maladaptations associated with schizoid PD. So it's kind of difficult. If it was a world of nothing but schizoids, well, guess what? You would actually have people you can relate to and connect to because they're like you, and you would have an in-group, and so thus you might not develop those withdrawal disconnect adaptations. You might be very connected, but the world would definitely look like a different place because the thinking is very different. So the direction stuff would have been constructed and institutions would have functioned and things of that nature. Might be different, but they won't be necessarily detached. It'll just be attached by different means or emphasizing different sort of things. The mountaintop hermitages would probably not be needed. No, but if they want to have them, that's fine too, you know. Do you wish that you didn't have schizoid PD? Trying to think what that even means. Do I wish that I could overcome the maladaptations that come with what is considered to be schizoid PD? Yes. Do I wish I could change my cognition, the way I feel or experience things? Like, would I want to change my neurodivergence? No. That's just who I am. I would be somebody else entirely if I wasn't like this. So I wouldn't change that. Man, I'm really tired. Holy shit. I get too cozy with you guys. Like, for real, I just get way too cozy. I'm gonna shut down in like 15 because I'm getting too sleepy. I got another 15 minutes in me. I can dig it up, but I might as well mention it now since I got like 18 people on here. If these support streams are helpful, if the Dr. Greenberg interview was helpful, if any of my content, the rambling and so on, I'm gonna keep doing it as much as I can. It's just hard to find the time half the time. If you like any of this, go to my Patreon. Please support me. It's so goddamn important. Like, it keeps me going. It's really helpful. And I want to eventually, one day, maybe a year, 2 years from now, whenever, I want to, probably like 2 or 3 years from now, if it keeps going in this, kind of positive direction, I want to be able to do this for a living. Or at least do this full time and then just like do other normal boring shit to just make extra money and make ends meet or whatever. So yeah, help me out on Patreon, please, if you can. Donations, please. I really appreciate them. You can donate on PayPal and stuff like that. Again, it's that practicality. I don't like money. I don't know why. I don't like that we need it and how often it gets misattributed to value, but oh well, what are you gonna do, right? It's life. Let's see here. Dylan, could you imagine 500 schizoids all trying to live a solo life in the same small woods? We'd all go nuts. Nah, that's just funny. I think that what would happen is if you got 500 schizoids and they all had their own little cave, eventually they'd start wandering around and then start going to each other's caves and then start actually like connecting to each other in their own unique ways, and eventually probably, build families or something. Who knows? I don't know. Luke Chen, I don't want to be fixed. I want to stay Zoid. That's what I mean, Luke. Like, when I say I don't want to be fixed, is that, like, when I say it's just so rough because there's this conflation between the way we experience and look at things and the maladaptations, the social maladaptations. Because a lot of the social maladaptations, unfortunately, extend to all relationships, even ones that we can, find some connection to. And so, we still suffer with certain needs not being met, right? Like intimacy and affection and stuff. We still suffer with loneliness, even though we like solitude. Loneliness is not something you can just discard. It still comes up from time to time for most schizoids. So it's a little rough. It's a little rough. And Fleeps, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, that's what's so rough. Like, people keep saying, like, I would miss myself. Like, I wish there was a pill you could take that wouldn't change how you see things and who you are, Fleeps. I wish there was a pill that you could take that could get rid of some of that anhedonia and depression and volition and just all those kind of negative symptoms, or paranoia for some, whatever. Like that's the stuff that I wish people could get fixed, not the way they feel and experience and connect to things. That's unique to you. That's important to you. I connect to things like as concepts and narratives and archetypes and stuff like that. It gets all kooky, but that's how I emotionally connect to stuff. Some people do it through like certain types of sincerity or certain type of emotional output or input that isn't conventional, or maybe through media, through art. Like, that's the only way they can convey what they actually feel, because it's such a deep-seated emotion or whatever, that it could only be conveyed through like music or visual media or something. I don't know, whatever. But there's people out there that could see that and experience it and share it with you and connect to you through those things, whatever they are that are unique to you. That's the stuff that, no, there's no fixing. That's not something you need fixed. That'd be trying to fix that would be the equivalent of like, I don't know, something like conversion therapy, right? It'd be like it'd be the same thing. It's built in. There's a genetic component to the way we think. And I'm not talking about the pessimism and things like that. I'm talking about just how we experience things. Like the way our pessimism or optimism is expressed, the way our sadness is expressed, the way our happiness is expressed. it's very different for a lot of us, and that's the very reason why we develop a lot of the negative adaptations that we develop, in my opinion. I am not a professional. These are just my opinions and theories that I work with other schizoids to figure out, and other people, and we'll hopefully be working with more professionals. I like experience being a normie for a day. It'd be kind of interesting to be a normie for a day, just because then you could just maybe have a better understanding how to navigate things. Yes, Cyan, I wish Schizoid wasn't considered a PD. That's the issue. It's that. It's like the idiosyncratic thinking, the odd beliefs, all that other kind of stuff. That's not a PD, in my opinion. What's a PD is a lot of the other stuff I described. And all that's all conflated together, and it's a bummer. It's a huge bummer, and it's a huge disservice to people dealing with this. I mean, the worst part is one of the worst things they say about SPD or SCPD is that, like, there's a lot of literature that just thinks that we like being like this when it comes to the adaptation stuff, like that we like being constantly alone. It's like, no, we like solitude. We don't like to feel alone on an existential level. We probably prefer being alone on a middle abstraction kind of material level, but on an existential level, we definitely don't like being alone. That makes us feel shitty and scared and uncomfortable. Oh, JR, the tarot tangent? Oh, you like Ink should offer tarot readings. I gotta practice more. I could do tarot readings. Like I said, I mentioned it to Greenberg why I think schizoids or cluster A's in particular would be really good at tarot reading, things like that. Oh, bye Taito. You said you had to go. Okay, well, bye Taito. Thanks for joining me, and thanks for supporting the channel. Thank you to all of you that do support on Patreon or anywhere else to donate. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. It's gonna be a long road ahead of me before it turns into a job, but I want to help schizoids and people like us more. So that's what I'm about. Whatever. It took me a few months to get past that fact. It was so awkward to realize that I want to help people. But hey, I'm getting there. Taito Art should get on and lurk. Back message to read. Keck. Sign Holman. Would you say that you suffer from schizoid PD? Are you asking me or somebody in the chat? Definitely. Yes, I definitely suffer from schizoid PD. And when we're talking schizoid PD, we're talking about all the adaptations that aren't necessarily useful in a situation in which it is a normative framework. But yes, things like anhedonia, depression, evolution, suppressed sense of identity, self, a stunted or doled out emotional range, like all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that part's rough. That part sucks. That part hurts. That part fucks me up all the time. It makes my days a lot less enjoyable than they could be. It can be debilitating at times, almost to the point where you just can't move, don't want to move, have to force yourself to move. Yes, Siena or Holman, I do suffer from schizoid PD. Dylan, I have straight up months to catch up on. That's my punishment for not logging on, just because I wanted to avoid one person. Oh, Taito, never do that. Never do that. If you want to avoid that person, just don't interact. Don't read their posts. Whatever. If there's somebody on the server you're just not clicking with, who cares? Just don't click. That's it. Or if they're bugging you or something, or if they're doing something they're not supposed to, or harassing, that's another thing. You would have to tell us on the server if another user is doing something to you, so we can maybe tell them to stop or kick them or whatever from the server if it's gotten that bad. Aranya, I've had people go, I know you like being alone, but your world sounds so lonely. Being lonely and alone are two different things. Yes, Aranya. Yes, being alone and being lonely. Like I said, I like to separate solitude from loneliness, you know? Do I like being generally by myself or with just like my wife or my kids? Do I like generally not engaging in big things where within my proximity there's a lot of people? Yes, I prefer not to do those things. Right now, do I feel less lonely because I'm interacting with people that are like-minded or experience life in similar ways or can understand what I'm trying to say and I can understand what they're trying to say? Does that make me feel less lonely? Yes, it does. I feel less lonely. That's good. There's a very fundamental difference there. Yeah, because yeah, you're right, Dylan. Being around others is normally more lonely, and the reason it's normally more lonely is because you're surrounded by people that are neurotypical and not schizoid or cluster A or whatever you want to call it, and so you're just like, oh, okay, I can't connect to these people on any fundamental level, so I feel even more alone because that's a reminder, and so you feel alienated and disconnected further than you even would, and yeah, you know what I'm saying. Leaps. Working in an office full of women. I need my alone time when I get home. I live in a household full of women, so. But they know me well enough to, you know, when I need some alone time, they'll give it to me. And that's what's good. That's a supportive system at home, is that if you're schizoid and you want a supportive system at home, they have to make concessions to you to give you some alone time. If they want you to be functional or happy enough to do what you need to in other departments. Dylan, yeah, it makes me feel more lonely, but the people I want around me, them not being there, can get lonely. Yeah. Dylan, I am bound to my mother because she pays for my tendies and Cracker Barrel. Not Cracker Barrel, you got tendies. You gotta get them tendies, Dylan. Get them tendies. Tendies. Barbecue sauce or ranch? The ultimate battle. Pleeps. Not that I don't like women, but they're more draining than men are. It's probably because of the emotional nature of a lot of their expression. It's a little more tied to emotional states. And back and forth interpersonal communication that isn't like, it's more interpersonal and less you know, the subject of a specific topic that's disconnected from the interpersonal. Ladies tend to gravitate toward that a little bit more, so it can be a little extra draining in that sense. I know what you're saying. Not that they're doing anything wrong, it's just how it be. What can we do? Yeah, they need more emotional feedback. Yeah, exactly. They want to see more expression and feedback. And, you know, when you're someone like us, it's kind of hard to provide that sort of feedback. Hold on, I'm trying to... Ooh, I'm gonna end the stream pretty soon here. I'm so tired and sleepy. Like I said, I'm tired and sleepy, not because I'm always tired and sleepy, but you guys make me feel so cozy. I know that makes some of you vomit in your mouths, but whatever. It's the truth. How can one become more indifferent to other people? It's not so much, Nico, it's not so much that you have to become indifferent to other people. It's more like you have to become indifferent to not being able to connect to people that you just can't connect to. And work around that and then find connections with the people you can connect to. And when you do that, it kind of recharges your battery to deal with more people you can't connect to. That's how I like to see it. Oh, neutral. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, we got kind of really off topic, but it's all interrelated to things like disappointment. So no, but the good thing, neutral. If you're on the server, I post this on my channel on the Discord server because I like to make these. I let this stream VOD, but specifically the support streams, I like to keep them on unlisted. But the link will be there on the actual server if you're interested. An eco nihil, but also not criticism. I'm afraid of intimacy, losing autonomy, the self. Oh yeah, for sure. It's a similar, the same fear that schizoids have, but do feel the need for relationships that causes suffering. In eco, a lot of schizoids have a need for relationship, but it's just because generally the type of relationships or the expectations of relationship or what we understand or the point of reference we have when it comes to relationship is so incongruent with what it is that we want out of what would be, I guess, considered a relationship, that we just assume that we can't accomplish such a task, or that sort of those expectations are either non-existent or we're being unreasonable for some reason with our own expectations, um, so on. Dylan Iron talking about compromises. Yeah, well, that's the thing, Iron. When the people around you don't feel like they're willing to compromise anything for you, it's difficult for you to want to do that in turn, right? When you find somebody else that's actually willing to make concessions because they care about you and sincerely care about your happiness, you more easily can do the same for them. And it doesn't feel like you're being bogged down or controlled or you're losing autonomy. It feels like you're creating a we or an us, creating an us. And you're taking a little bit of the I and you're creating something even more powerful and beautiful and blah, blah, blah. But creating an us is a very difficult thing for a schizoid person for many obvious reasons. And neurodivergent or otherwise. Tired of being the voice of reason. I've been the voice of reason for too long. Even being the neutral component of a relationship is chains. It's rough, like I said, Iron. That's why you have to date or try having a relationship with somebody that maybe doesn't require as much compromise or compromises that you're unwilling to make and they're willing to do concessions too in your stead, and it turns into a more mutual situation. Neutral says, I've been paralyzed by evolution trying to write my application for the Discord. I'll get there eventually. I know, Neutral. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, just remember, if you could always join the server as a non-Zoid or whatever, if you don't feel just so you could at least talk to some Zoids on there or check out some of the channels that are available. So there's also that. But whenever you're ready to submit it, do so. Do your best to write it, and we'll go from there. We have to do it like that because otherwise the server would just get full of whoever walks in, and it would be such a clusterfuck if we did that. Let's see here. Alright, last comment of the day because I'm exhausted. I wonder if most schizoids have an object of love, like a person that holds your ability to love within them. No one compares to them. My mother is the only person I've ever loved in my life. Yeah, we definitely can love Aranyu. Anybody that says otherwise is full of shit. I'll say right now, hot take. Anyone that says a schizoid is not capable of love, and because they just don't possess the ability to love, is full of shit. They're full of shit, even if it's a Zoid saying that about themselves. They're full of fucking shit. There's a difference between not being able to say it or express it, or it being suppressed within yourself and you can't access it because of a variety of adaptations and just hurt and so on. There's a difference between that and not being capable or having the ability to love. Like, that's just absurd. There's a fundamental difference there. The ability is there. It just takes a different shape, and it takes a different form, and it might come with different values attached to it, but it's still love. So, yeah. You're not full of shit, Fleebs. You just haven't experienced it. Because you haven't been in enough of an environment or situation in which you could do so. And around people that you could express it with, feel it from, in ways that are unique to you. So no, you're not full of shit. Alright, thanks guys for listening. Yes, there's the something positive at you, Mike Subs. Alright, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed. Sorry, Emmett. We're actually, stream's over. But you can go back and watch it if you're on the server. The link's going to be up. The DVR for it is still available for like a little while, so you can actually backtrack and listen to it. But it's kind of, I got to end it now. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you guys getting on here. Thank you for expressing your thoughts and all that kind of shit on there. It makes it helpful, makes it interesting for me to converse with, so it's not just me rambling the whole time. As usual, if you like this, please, I'm going to e-beg the shit out of you. Please support me on Patreon so that I can keep doing more of this and spend more time doing it, because this is all I've ever given a fuck about, in a really like something I'm motivated to do sort of level and enjoy, outside of because it's a necessity to gather resources and continue living. Having at least an okay day. Yes, I will have an okay day, hopefully, but for now I probably just want to fall asleep on my couch and then maybe play a little Doom Eternal, and then we'll see from there. Alright guys, peace out. Thank you for joining me. Later. Join the server if you haven't, if you feel it's for you.